Okay, so yesterday we discussed about prompt engineering. What are the prompt fundamentals? How prompt works? What is the algorithms required for prompt? So today what we will do is we'll have a quiz and wherein I will present some questions to you and you guys have to answer on your chat or by speaking however you want to do, right? Please be interactive and respond. You can respond on the chat, so there's no issue that you have to speak only. Okay. So here's the first question. What is the input provided to a generative AI model to get a desired output? Can anyone answer that? Hello? Okay. Am I audible, guys? Sarika?
Yes, Mr. Kothari.
Yeah. So actually, I didn't see any response from anyone, so I thought whether I am audible or not.
No, I'm following it.
So the first question I am asking is the input provided to a generative AI model to get a desired output? Should it be a token or embedding or parameter or prompt? What should it be?
Students,
Anyone?
please, yeah, please be interactive. Please give answers, whether it is right or wrong, but please give answers. Anyone? Jaya Kumar?
No, madam.
Okay, so the answer is prompt because we know that when we provide the prompt to the generative AI model, we get the desired output. So what the correct answer is? Prompt. Okay. Next question. Which prompting technique relies on the model's pre-trained knowledge with no example? Yes. Is it a few shot or one shot or zero shot or chain of thoughts? Guys, today only few of you have joined. Oh, okay. Tell me, will it be few shot or one shot or zero shot? What should it be? So remember, I told you that if there is no example and no pre-trained knowledge is given to AI, then it will be zero shot. So the correct answer is zero shot programming. Okay. What is the term for including multiple examples, inputs and desired outputs in the prompt? So when we are saying multiple examples means we are saying that it is not zero shot. It may have some examples, one or many. So if it is more than one example, what we call is as few shot prompting. So the correct answer is few shot prompting. Okay. So moving on the next question. What is the main benefit of making a prompt more specific and detailed? Hmm? What is the main benefit of making a prompt more specific and detailed? Any, so does it increase the model's parameter count, or does it leads to a better or more relevant output, or does it reduce the required context window or makes the model open source? So if we see the main benefit of making a prompt more specific and detailed is that it leads to better and more relevant output, which is the correct answer, right? Are you guys familiar with these terms? If you remember, we discussed them yesterday. Okay, so moving on to the next question. What is a poor prompt often described as? So when we don't get any desired output properly, or when we don't, I mean, do, get the response what we are looking for, what happen is we call it as a poor prompt because we did not get the desired output. So what would be the reason of it? So it may be that it is too long and detailed, or is it using chain of thoughts, or is it vague or generic, or it is using the React framework. So even if it is too long and detailed, still it will give you a better result. If it is using chain of thoughts, it will execute something and give you the result. Even if it is using the React framework, it will give you a result. So when will you will not get the desired output is when it is vague or generic. So if your prompt is vague or generic, you will not get the desired output. So the answer is C. Okay. Moving on to the next question. What technique assigns the model a persona like you are a senior developer? Remember, I told you that, generally we give prompt engineering a role, and we say that, okay, treat this as a role and give the response based on that role. So what should it be? I already given you the intent. So it should be role prompting. Okay. Okay. Next question. Which part of the prompt defines the rules for the output? Tell me, should it be the context or the role definition, or should it be the constraints or instructions, or should it be the few short examples? Which part of the prompt defines the rule for the output? So generally what happens is when we are defining the rules, we are calling it defining the rules or defining the conditions or parameters or instructions or constraints. So those are the places where we get the output. So which part of the prompt defines the rule is constraints and instructions. Okay. Anyone joined new? Okay, yeah, few more joined. So guys, just for your information, please respond on your chat if you know the answer. I don't mind even if it is wrong, because even if you are giving wrong answer, you are participating. So please be participant of this course so that you got to learn something or you are engaged enough to actually know the things. Okay, so I'm putting up the next question, which is what is the goal of prompt validation in a real world application? Okay, so can anyone answer this? What is the goal of prompt validation in real world? Remember, we discussed that there is a concept called validating the prompt and then getting the output of it. So it's a step-by-step process wherein we actually call it a prompt engineering. So the goal of prompt validation is it's not to find new example by for few shots, and it not that you shorten the prompt length, and it is not the define the model's parameter count. It should be what? It should be to ensure the prompts well formed before execution. So the answer should be B. So what is the goal of prompt validation in real world example is to ensure the prompt is well formed before execution. C. The answer is C. Oh, sorry, answer is B. To ensure the prompt is well formed before execution. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Which LLM component is directly affected by the length of your prompt? Yes. Generally, what we do is where we provide the prompt. We provide the prompt in the context window. Correct. So, which LLM component is directly affected by the length of your prompt is it's not a parameter count or it's not this sorry embedding dimension, and it is not your feed forward network. It is option B, context window, because we provide our prompt or all the text whatever we are writing as instructions in the context window. So the only component which is affected by the length is context window only. Okay, moving on to the next question. So what is the process of improving the input given to an LLM to get a better result? I think we discussed about it in detail yesterday. What is the process
Prompt
of improving
engineering.
the? Very good. So it should be prompt engineering. Very good. Okay, next question is which prompting technique explicitly asks the model to output the step it looks to reach a conclusion?
Chain of thoughts.
Few
This is the
shot,
option.
chain of thought, broad prompting, real shot. So somebody is saying chain of thoughts, right? Others? Okay. Yes, the answer is correct. It's chain of thought. Okay. Moving on to the next question, which is in a few shot prompt, should the example be consistent with the final required task? Tell me, we are working on a few shot prompt wherein what we are giving is we initially given one example, let's say one example image or one particular marketing material, and we are looking for similar marketing material or similar image based on that input parameter we have given. So should the example we have given be consistent with the final required task or not?
I think it's yes.
Yes, it should be consistent, because if it is not consistent, then I mean AI will not understand what you are looking for. So your example or your shot should be consistent. So yes, the answer is B. They should be consistent. Perfect. Who responded? I think Nandini. Thanks, Nandini.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see the chat and Vikas is also responding. Well done, Vikas. Okay, so moving on to the next question, which is the API naming example in the slides demonstrated with sample technique for teaching style. Remember, I mean, in the PPT, I have given API naming where we were saying, okay, change the name of API. And what was that? We have given, what we have given is, we have given one example to it. So it is one shot. Okay. You might not be aware of the PPT, so I am not focusing on this. Let's move to the next question. What is the main purpose of defining the format in a prompt?
To
Hmm?
ensure consistency and readability.
To ensure consistency and readability of the output. Okay, let's check the answer. Yes, that's correct. Very good. Okay. So, guys, you also please either speak or put your answer in the chat window. Okay. Whatever you know. I mean, you just say A, B, C, D, that's it. Okay. What is the core characteristics that distinguish zero shot from one shot prompting? I think it's very simple.
Option C.
Option C, the number of examples provided. Because yesterday we said that zero shot means there is no example and one shot means there is at least one example. So
Yeah.
yes, the answer is number C. Okay, very good. Next question is, what should the very first sentence of an effective prompt define? The model's context window size, or the word count, or the goal?
Goal roll.
Okay. So Nandini is saying goal roll task. Anyone else? Vikash, Aditya, what is your? Okay, Vikash is also saying option C. Yes, that's the correct answer. Thank you, guys. Okay, moving on. Next question is, the system architect role is used for tasks related to what? I mean, when we are talking about
Option
the
C.
based, so option C, designing, structure, and high level planning. Yes, that's correct. Next question. What did the presentation call the problem of having vague prompt requirement? I mean, remember when I was showing you PPT, I was showing you one example where I just wrote write code, and there is no example like what kind of code need to be written, what is the programming language, nothing is mentioned. Just write code. So what AI will do is AI will not be able to perform it properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zero
What
shot
we call it
failure.
as? What should we call it? We should call it as poor prompt,
Oh,
because that prompt is not enough AI, or not, I mean, does not have enough information to tell AI what should be, what is the requirement and what should be done. Correct? We have to be
yeah.
precise with what we are looking for. So the option is poor prompt. Okay. When debugging code using a prompt, the few shot method required analyzing the examples what? What it was doing? Was it using the
Pattern
latency,
and fix.
pattern and fix? Okay, that's correct. Well done. Because when you are writing the response, can you just, I mean, instead of writing option, you just write 19 by C, so that I got to know whether you are answering to 19th question or 18th question. Because in the chat it is showing nine option B, option C, option C. So I don't know which res- questions response you are putting here. Okay. So please just put question number oblique the response. Thank you so much. Okay. And it is not just to Vikas, it is for everyone. Please respond. So moving on to the next question. What is the prompt component that gives the model domain specific knowledge? Example, environmental awareness.
Context.
Context. Anyone else? Tapovardhan, Aditya, Vikas. What do you think? So, okay, let's go with the option Nandini has said, context. And yes, that's the correct answer. Well done. Okay, next question. What is the common term for an instruction in a prompt that tells the model how to behave? We generally use this term so that we tell how the model should behave. So we cannot call it embedding, we cannot call it token, we cannot even call it few shot. So what we call it as directive.
Direct.
Okay, so the answer is directive. Okay. The few shot technique is particularly useful for what kind of tasks? Hmm? A simple definition lookup, stylistic or complex pattern, task requiring no reasoning, or task using no context window. So when we are saying question 22B, okay, thank you. So Vikas is saying 22B, which is stylistic or complex pattern replication. See here this word complex pattern replication. So what we are looking for here is we have a concept and we want to actually make a similar answer to that. Like I give you the example of marketing material. So what I'm saying is that okay, this is my Dashera marketing material and created Diwali marketing material based on this, so that I get this similar response, similar pattern, and I get the answer what I am looking for with the new problem. Okay, so yes, that's correct. That we are talking about a stylistic or complex pattern replication here. Well done, Vikas. Okay, next question. What is the term for a common technique where the output of one prompt is used as the input for the next?
Prompt chaining.
Yes, prompt chaining. Because what we are doing is we are using the output of one prompt as the input for next. So prompt chaining is when we are actually raising our questions and refining the response. So yes, that's correct. Well done. Next question. In a few short prompt, what is the set of inputs and desired output provided to the model called?
Examples or demonstrations.
Examples and demonstrations. That's correct. So we generally call it as examples. Okay. What is the goal of including an explicit role definition like you are an expert in a prompt? Remember we talked about
Uh,
role based context. So what happens is when we are setting
option
role based context, we see the response based on that role. So if we are saying that okay, I'm a tutor and I want to teach to the 10 year class 10 student, so the response has to be from a tutor to a 10th class student. So that is the benefit of role. So what should be the answer here is? Is it to reduce the model's cost or to establish a clear expertise context, to use the model's API gateway, or to remove the need for tokenization?
option B.
Option B. Yeah, just give me a minute, please. Okay, so what is the option? 25B. Okay, so Vikas is saying 25B. Yes, that's a correct answer. To establish a clear expertise context, we define this. Okay, so moving on to the next question. What is the smallest unit of text an LLM processes? It's a word, token, embedding, or parameter. Remember, yesterday we discussed that when we are writing even a sentence, the AI breaks them down into words, and those words are known as token. So the smallest unit of text an LLM processes is the token. So yes, Vikas, that's correct. Good. Okay. What is the result of the tokenization process when an unknown word is encountered? I think I gave you one example of it, that if one unknown word is encountered, what happens? Let's say the unknown word is like you are giving something but you misspelled it. So, for example, you were saying message, and you did not type double S and you just typed single S, or you forgot to write E, and that word is not correct. So what AI will do is, based on the n-gram algorithm, it breaks that into multiple subwords, and then actually get to know what the user is looking for. So it is subword token. Yes, Vikas, that's correct. Thank you so much. Okay. Next question. The attention mechanism is a core component of which LLM architecture? I think we didn't study this, so let's skip this question. But the answer is transformer architecture. Okay. Okay. What does COT stands for in prompting? Hmm? Code optimization technique, contextual output target, chain of thoughts,
Chain of
or
thought.
chain of thoughts. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So next question is, what is the core idea of chain of thought prompting? Yesterday we discussed chain of thought. So what we were saying is that, okay, I'll tell you what we were saying
Option
yesterday, but
B.
option B. So we were saying that there should be steps, and those steps need to be executed in the series. So the answer is forcing the model to show step-by-step reasoning. So yes, Vikas and Nandini, this is correct answer. Next question is, so I think only Vikas and Nandini is here. Rest all are, guys, please participate. Okay. What specific type of prompt is often used to induce chain of thought reasoning in model? Is it zero shot with no prompts? What is chain of thoughts? Zero shot with no prompt, or role prompting, one shot example, or is it explicit instructions wherein we are saying that let's think step by step?
Explicit instruction.
Correct. So yes, Vikas, Nandini, this is correct option. Thank you so much. Okay. Now next question is, which advanced framework combines reasoning and action? I think it is very simple.
Chain of thought.
Sorry, option A.
Yeah.
Mm, See, we are talking about reasoning and action. So we said that if reasoning is RE,
React.
action as act, we are calling it as react. Okay, remember this? Yes, because that's correct. React. Next question. The React framework cycles through which three primary stages: input, process, output, reason, act, observe, think, plan, execute, or identify, abstract, apply.
Reason act observe.
Sorry,
Reason act observe. Option B.
option B. Yes, Vikas is also saying option B. So let's check. Yes, that's correct answer. Perfect. Okay. Moving on to the next question. What does the act part of the React framework allows the model to do? Remember we said that React is re and act. That means reasoning and action. Okay. So what is the action part is? Is it
Use external tools.
exactly? So when we are saying action part, it is using external tools or APIs to do the action. So the answer is option B, use external tools or APIs. Perfect. Next question. Which LLM trade-off primarily concerns the balance between computational speed and result reliability? So remember we were just talking about LLM yesterday, and we said that LLM has some trade-offs. And what is that? Is it size versus capability, or is it memory versus context, or is it latency versus accuracy, or is it cost versus customization? So when we are talking about LLM, yeah, anyone? What do you guys
Option
see? Okay,
C.
latency versus accuracy. Because if your prompt are not significant, then, and if it is a long string, then latency may be the issue, and accuracy will also be less. So you should be prompt and discreet. I mean, with your question, so that you get the accurate answer. Because if you are writing like write a code, it will keep searching what you want to write. It may not give you the correct answer. So if your prompt is accurate, your I mean accuracy of response is good and your latency will be less. So answer is option C, latency versus accuracy. Perfect. Next question. Which part of the transformer architecture enables parallel processing of the input sequence?
Multi-head attention.
Multi-head attention. But I think we did not discuss, so I'm just skipping it. Okay. The trade-off pair discussed in the presentation relates to accuracy and what other factor? Was it size, context, cost, or customization? So when we are saying about accuracy, it involves a cost. So the option is C, cost. Okay. In the Gen AI workflow, what happens in the post-processing layer? Anybody know about this processing layer?
Option A.
Tokenization and embedding generation, model selection and execution, validation and formatting, or continuous integration? What should it be?
Option C.
Option C. So, Nandini, tokenization and embedding is the initial validation. Here we are
Okay.
talking about post-processing. So post-processing is validation and formatting. Because we got the results, we got a lot of responses, and now AI is processing it for to present it to you.
Yeah.
So it is validating and it is formatting so that it presents you in a proper manner. So the answer is option C, validation and formatting. Okay, moving on to the next question. Which LLM component applies non-linear transformation to the data? I think we did not discuss this. So is it feed forward network? But I'm just skipping this question because we were not talking about that. I mean, that was not part of our discussion yesterday. Okay. In the Gen AI workflow, which layer is responsible for the final delivery and integration of the output? Yes,
Post-processing.
Nandini is saying post processing. Anyone else? Okay, Nandini.
Option
So let me tell you one thing. Post processing is processing the validation and it is processing the process for formatting. But delivery happens with output layer, which is the last layer, right? So the
Okay.
correct answer is output layer. Post processing just prior to it, which is processing at the server end.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
What is the term for a set of instructions used to guide the model's behavior and output format?
Template.
Template. Anyone else? Option D. Who is saying? Vikas. Are you saying it for Vikas? 41. Option D. No. So, mm, Vikas is writing option B. Okay. Yes, the answer is option B, template. Correct. So, set of instructions used to guide the model's behavior is known as template. So, what happen is, like we discussed yesterday, we can create multiple type of models. So, maybe if one is for pizza delivery, so we create a pizza delivery model wherein everything is related to pizza delivery. You can have multiple choices for pizza and all those things. So, we have to create a template for to manipulate the model's behavior. Okay. So, next question is the experience level component in role prompting typically defines what? Is it
Depth of
depth
knowledge
of
and
knowledge
data.
and detail in the response? So, in the role prompting, what we are doing is we are showing the experience level, like it's a beginner or it's a tutor or it's a student, and based upon that experience level, AI is creating the response. Because if you are saying that I'm a class 5 student and I want to know this calculation, AI should give you the answer which a 5-year class student can understand. But if same question is being asked by a college guy, the AI should respond in a different manner so that it is valuable for him. Okay, so depth of knowledge and detail in the response is the, I mean, role prompting benefit. So yes, that's correct answer. Next question is which LLM is generally considered the most capable for general purpose complex tasks? So remember we were talking about that each model has some specifics for working, and when we were talking about the general purpose complex tasks, we were saying that it is GPT-4, but okay. So Vikas is also saying GPT-4, fine, perfect. So yes, Vikas, that's correct answer. Okay. Next question. Pattern analysis methodology. Identify, extract, apply is most crucial for which prompting technique? Hmm?
You should.
Why?
Like it's a pattern analysis using like few examples what we have given.
So we are giving one example to it or multiple example to it. So what AI has to do is it has to identify and retrieve the abstract from those examples and then it has to apply it. So yes, few shot prompting is the correct answer. Okay, moving on to the next question. What is the primary function of the API gateway pattern in GenAI integration?
I think it's centralized access.
So when we were talking about API yesterday, and what it was saying is that if we have API gateway pattern, then we can apply the rate limiting, right? We did not talk about authentication centralizations, but we were actually talking about the API gateway and rate
Yeah,
limiting.
right.
So yes, the answer is option C. Question number. Yes, Vikas. Thank you so much, Nandini. Vikas. Okay. Moving on to the next question. What was the main output of the tech? Oh, why we are talking about tech of automation case? Let's skip this question because we did not discuss the examples. Okay. So moving on to the next question. Which component of the role prompt template provides environmental awareness?
Mhm.
Hmm?
Role definition.
Role definition is not giving you environmental awareness. Role definition is giving you the role. So it is the
Sorry,
context. You
context.
are setting up the context, right? So the correct answer is context. So when you are saying that role prompt, you are setting up the context that yes, I am talking about a 10-year-old guy or I am talking about a college tutor. So what you are setting up is you are setting up the context. Next question is okay. Which LLM is best suited for long documents analysis due to its 100K token context window? I showed you in PPT there is a table and we were talking about few example models, and one of them was actually good for long document analysis because it could support 100K token in context window. And what is it is? It is, I think, clouded to anyone. 47 option D. Okay, fine. So yes, answer is option D. So when you are looking for a long document like PPT, Word document, or if you are looking for an image or video, you have to make sure that I mean you have a length defined in a manner that your input can be taken, and that's why you have to select the LLM based on your token size. Okay. Okay, so now we are talking about chain of thoughts. So after breaking down a problem in chain of thoughts, the next step is typically to what? So we
Solve sequentially.
So we discussed that when we are talking about chain of thoughts, we are giving him guide, step by step guide to perform some actions like do this step one, then do this step two, then do this step three, and so on. So what it is doing is it will be solving sequentially one subtask at a time, and I mean if you are giving it 5 or 6 or 10 subtasks, it will perform sequentially one by one, and then it will provide you the output. So after breaking down a problem in COT, the next step is typically solve sequentially. Okay, perfect. Well, Nandini. Okay, moving on to the next question. I think it is from the same example. So can anyone answer this? Which LLM is often used as a baseline or benchmark for open source model? 48 option B.
GPT.
No, no. GPT-4 is not for that. For open source model, it is
Okay, okay. Llama 2.
LLMA2. Llama 2. Okay, so answer is Llama 2. Okay. Next question. So we have, so far we have completed 50 questions. So anything, any concern or anything which you think that, you could not understand, please speak up. And if you want to discuss it, we can discuss. Yes? Anyone? Sarika, Vinay, Jaykumar, Nandini.
Sir, can you brief about the GenAI workflow once again? Like, uh, roughly about what are the steps?
Okay, let me bring it out for you. So this is the workflow. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, the first layer is the input layer.
Okay.
Okay. So when we have to design effective GenAI workflow, what we have to do is we have to create a systematic approach, right? Like we have to first provide the input, our data source, our user request has to be created in a manner so that our input is, I mean, simple enough to AI to process it. So once you have given the input, and we discussed lot of algorithms and lot of concepts for this input layer itself, which we are calling as prompt engineering. So based on those inputs, what happen is the processing happens. So let's say you wrote something in English, your AI will take that input and it processes that with the help of prompt engineering and see what is the example or what are the sequences you are giving for chain of thoughts, or whether you are giving any example or not. So based on that, it validates the request and then actually it sends the GenAI engine for the model selection and execution. Why model selection? Because if you are talking about like video creation, or if you are talking about healthcare system, or if you are talking about, let's say, pizza delivery, so based on which model is suitable for that particular question asked by user, the GenAI engine is selected. Okay. So once the model is selected, that model is aware about all the environmental things related to that particular, I mean, synergy which you are looking for. So let's say you are talking about pizza, or let's say if you are talking about some educational question or maths related question. So the math related model is selected and then your question is processed. Okay. So when this question is processed, it may bring up a lot of responses, but because you might have given multiple instructions, so it might bring out multiple responses, and then post processing happens wherein it actually sees, okay, what kind of question you asked, what are the steps involved. So based on that, it actually do the post processing on the data it retrieve from the model. So after validation and formatting, let's say you were asking for the PPT, so it will actually format it like a PPT. It actually sends to the output layer where actual output is happening and you are seeing the result, which we call as output layer or the delivery or integration layer. So whenever we have to actually design our workflow, what we should consider is we should consider the speed, accuracy, cost, and ease of implementation, right? so that we got proper results with the help of minimum tokens and I mean discrete or I mean you should say exact requirement or exact tokens you passed. Whether be it you I mean you are using any example or if you are using chain of thoughts, that you have to decide what kind of problem you have, and that way you will prepare your input and actually do this. I mean this workflow is executed. Yeah. So is it clear, Nandini?
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
Oh, okay, perfect. Any questions you have, please, you may ask. Hmm?
No questions. It's
Okay,
clear.
perfect. Okay, so now we are already covered 50 questions. So let's move to the next question, which is question number 51. And as you can see, I tried to brought 80 questions, but I got only 78. So anyway, so next question is question 51, when we are talking about this chain of thought reasoning structure starts with problem analysis and then proceeds to what? Hmm?
Breakdown.
So is it verify and synthesize? No. Will it solve sequentially? Yes, I think. Will it propose indexing strategy? No. But when you are talking about solve sequentially, it will not solve sequentially. What it will do is it will actually based on the subtask available to it. So if you are giving 5 steps or 5 subtasks, it will break down it and then actually decompose into subtasks. So option C is the correct answer for this. Okay. Next question. Question 52. What simple rule ensures an effective prompt for code as demonstrated in the workshop? Hmm?
Option B.
Option B. So we never said that your token should be under 10 because when it depends upon scenario. You may have, I mean, any tokens or anything based on what you are looking for. We cannot say that only use zero shot prompting, because if you have another problem where you have examples to actually execute, then you have to provide those examples. And we cannot say that do not include any constraints, because if you want to put any constraint to your response, you have to provide that. So what we are saying here is that we have to specify the function, we have to specify the requirements so that we get the desired output style. So the simple rule to ensure effective prompt for code is to specify the function requirements and desired output style. Yes, so Vikash and Nandini, the answer is B, correct. Well done. Okay, moving on to the next question. The tokenization process is described as handling unknown words through what specific technique? Hmm? I think we had I mean, good discussion on it when we were saying that there is n-gram algorithms and we convert words into smaller parts, right? So, I mean, when we are saying that word needs to be converted into smaller parts, so it cannot be full word tokenization, it cannot be multi-head attention, it cannot be context-aware generation, and it should be sub-word tokenization, right? So, yes, Vikas, the answer is sub-word tokenization is correct. Well done. Okay. What is the fundamental characteristics of generative AI systems that distinguish them from traditional AI?
Option B.
Sorry, option?
B.
Okay. So what happens is with the traditional AI is they are trained. They are trained with data. So, I mean, like I give you the example of pizza delivery. So they are trained with what kind of pizza available, what kind of delivery options available, what kind of payment options available, how to ask location, all those things. So we trained our AI so that AI asks those particular questions before it delivers the pizza. And then our model is specific to pizza delivery only and based on training only, right? But when we are using generative AI, what we are doing here is we are creating new content. We are asking AI to create a new image. So what happen is Nandini says that okay, this is my picture. Just change the background of it. So, I mean, or just make it like I'm in France, and AI will be able to do it. It will change the background so that it shows the Eiffel Tower behind Nandini, and we are able to create new content out of it. So the fundamental characteristics of Gen AI is that they are AI systems that create new content rather than just analyzing existing data. They do analyze the existing data because when you are asking 2 plus 3, it will give you answer 5. It will not create a new content. I mean, any question if you are asking. So it works on both ways. It creates the new content as well as analyzes the existing data. So the correct answer should be option B. And yes, Nandini, you are correct. And also Vikas, that the answer is AI systems create new content rather than just analyzing existing data. Okay, moving on to the next question. Okay, so we are now dealing with large language models, LLMs. So what is the typical vocabulary size in tokens for a standard LLM? 4K to 32K token, 100 to 512, 30K to 100K, or 1 million plus? What do you think? Vikas is saying option C. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, fine. So let's see. Yes, that's correct. I think this is standard answer. So let's move to the next question. Oh, this is also similar. The vector representation used in embedding can typically range in dimension from what to what. Remember yesterday we talked about vector representation. Anyone know about this vector representation? What is it?
It's converting a word into a numerical representation so that model can understand.
Perfect. So it converts any object to the numeral representation so that I mean we can actually work on the images and all those objects, not just the text, right?
Yeah.
And we also say that it has 768 to 4096 dimensions. So the answer is option B, option C. Okay, next question. How many words are considered equal to one token in the context of LLMs as stated in the presentation?
One point two five.
No, no, it should be 0.75. So what happens is one word may have errors as well. So it considers that 0.75 word has to be matched. So that way it is considered as a token. Because you may make some spelling mistake. Let's say you are writing message and you missed writing S, or you are just saying MSG. So based on those things, what LLM does is actually it sees okay, the meaning or context of this token is related to what, and that way it defines that okay, if it is 0.75 words, then it will consider as a token. Okay. Next question is, the trade-off between a model's context and its memory refers to the balance between what? The model's reasoning accuracy and its speed, or the model's size and its accuracy, or is it the practical limitation on input length and the computational resources required, or is it the model's customizability and its ease of use?
Option C.
Option C, yes. So, model's context and its memory refers to the balance between the practical limitation on input length and the computational resources required. So, yes, option C is correct. What is the key differences between task specific and general purpose models? So, I think I gave you, this example multiple times that task
Option D.
specific model is like the pizza delivery model, right? And general purpose model is when you are doing multiple things out of it. So, let's read the options. Task specific models are closed source, while general purpose models are open source. No, it's not necessary that it should be open source only. It can be, available. Like Microsoft is providing Copilot, and it's not open source. So next is the general purpose models are trained on smaller data set than task specific models. That may not be correct because sometimes no, sorry, what I say is general purpose models are trained on small tasks. No, 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 not at all, because general purpose models are trained on larger data set than the specific model, right? So what is the option C? Task specific models have a 100K context window while general purpose models do not. No, it's not correct. Options D. Task specific models are fine tuned for specific applications while general purpose models have broad capabilities. Correct.
Yes.
So the answer is option D, because when we are saying pizza delivery application, it is specifically for pizza delivery only. But when you are actually talking to GenAI, we are asking it to create an image or create a picture or the marketing material, any type of things we can ask the same model to do. So the answer is option D. Task specific models are fine tuned for specific application while general purpose models are having the broader capabilities. Okay. Next question. If an LLM has a vocabulary size of 60,000 token, what does this limit primarily affect?
Option C.
Yes. So when I have 60,000 tokens, that means I have 60,000 unique words with me. And if you are writing any of them, I am able to recognize what you are asking. Correct? So the answer is the range of unique word parts it recognizes. Yes, that's correct. Well done, Nandini. Okay, next question. Which error handling mechanism is used to verify that the LLM's output conforms to expected schema? Mm,
Output validation.
Output validation. Because when we are talking about output, I mean, like if you want output should be in the JSON, so output validation is required, which actually makes sure that it should be in the JSON format only. So yes, the answer is correct. Output validation. Well done. Okay. Zero shot prompting workshop evaluated prompt results based on code quality, prompt effectiveness, and what is the third criteria? Remember, we discussed one example in zero shot prompting where we were talking about the Python programming, correct? So, what was the third criteria?
Requirements coverage.
Requirements coverage. Because when you are giving zero shot, you have to tell your requirements specifically because you don't have any example to share, you don't have any steps to share. So, your requirement has to be proper to give you a code, I mean, quality code. So, this answer is correct. Okay. Next question again related to workflow. So Nandini, you just actually had a discussion with I mean those layers again.
Yeah.
So in the GenAI workflow, the input layer is responsible for what initial step? Tell me.
Collecting and preparing user input.
Perfect. Well done. So yes, it cannot be model selection. Okay. So I mean, I'm just asking, where does this model selection come? I mean, we just discussed, right?
Of GenAI engine.
GenAI engine. Yes, that's correct. And where this output formatting will come?
In the output layer.
In the output layer. And database query optimization, it is post processing because it is optimizing the I mean, results, right? And
Yeah.
collecting and preparing user input is the input layer, which you have already told. So yes, answer is B. What happen if a few short prompts example contradict the final instruction?
Output quality will be inconsistent.
Yes, correct. So the model's output quality will be inconsistent or poor because
Yeah.
I mean your examples are contradictory and I mean, for example, if I'm giving you a scenario and if I'm giving you a picture of Eiffel Tower, what will you do with both? Right? Those two inputs cannot give you a output. So
Yeah.
few short example, if you are talking about, they should be related. Your examples should be related, or they should have a meaningful relation, so that you get the proper and consistent output. So yes, the answer is model's output quality will be inconsistent or poor if your examples are contradictory. Okay. Next question is, in the context of LLM, what does NLU stands for? I think we all know what is NLU. Is it natural
Natural language
language?
understanding.
Okay. Vikas, what is your answer? I think. Okay. So Nandini is saying option D, natural language understanding. And yes, that's the correct answer. Okay. Next question. What concept describes the numerical representation of text where similar meaning have vectors close together in space?
Embeddings.
Embeddings, because we are talking about vectors here, right?
Yeah.
That's correct. So, okay. Next question. What is the fundamental difference between zero shot and one shot prompting technique?
Option B.
Option B. So when you are saying zero shot, that means it does not have any example or any predefined things. But when you are saying one shot, it has something predefined. So yes, the answer is option B. Zero shot uses no example, one shot uses one example. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Which role is best suited for writing prompts requiring efficient low latency API logic?
Option B.
Option B, performance engineer, because secure analysis, data scientist, or UX designer cannot do this. And why this question is asked here is just so that you know when and how to use your role based prompting, correct? If you know that a performance engine is required for these things, you will ask your AI that, okay, as a performance engineer, tell me this thing, correct? So the
Yeah.
answer is performance engineer. Okay. Next question. What is the main function of the security engineer? Hmm?
Option
Focusing on
A.
secure coding practice and vulnerability avoidance, optimizing latency, designing user interface, or managing the database. So option A, like you said, focusing on secure coding practice and so for example, you are writing some code and you want these things to happen in your code, that it should focus on secure coding practice and these things. Then what will you do is, as a security engineer, do this, correct? Okay, so answer is A, focusing on secure coding practice and vulnerability avoidance. Next question. In the React cycle, what action is taken after an act is executed? So
Observe.
in the React, what we studied is, it is reasoning, action, and observe. So
Yeah.
first is reasoning, then is action, and then the observe, right?
Yeah.
So the answer is observe, review, action, results. Correct? Okay, moving on to the next question. The one-shot technique is recommended for which application when the model needs to learn a specific style? Okay. So, I mean, can you give me which one is the one-shot example here? Debugging complex code pattern, system architecture review, API documentation style, or database optimization? So when we are saying database optimization, we all know that database optimization must have steps. So it cannot go with the one shot, right? Because it will involve multiple steps. When you are talking about system architecture review, again it should have multiple steps, right? And when we are saying debugging complex code pattern, again it should have multiple steps and multiple examples as well, because it has multiple code patterns. So
Yeah.
the API documentation style, because what we are saying is, okay, this is the API, prepare a document out of it. So, I mean, we can do it easily with the one shot, correct? We can give you
Yeah.
one example to AI, and AI will be able to prepare the documentation based on that example. Okay, which LLM trade-off primarily involves deciding between using a smaller, faster model or a larger, more capable model? So, out of these four options, what is actually, I mean, ask LLM to whether use a smaller or a faster model or a larger model? Is it
Size
memory
versus
versus context?
capability.
Yes, size versus capability. Because when we are talking about size, we should know, I mean, whether it's, I mean, a smaller or faster model is required, or what should be the requirement. So size versus capability is the correct answer. Okay, good. So I think we are only five questions from our class today. So next question is, what is the key characteristics of a zero shot COT prompt? Okay. Anyone? Any idea? Nandini. So when we are saying zero shot COT prompt, what we are saying is that there will be instructions clearly given in the requirement only, and there is no steps we would like it to achieve, because we are not giving those steps. I mean, like do this, then do this, then do this. So it is zero shot chain of thoughts, and so the answer is that the expression we are saying is let's think step by step. Okay, so this one becomes the zero shot COT prompt, because if you are giving one example, then it is one shot. But if you're not giving any example, or if you're not giving anything to actually think about it, then you are saying is, I mean, you need this step by step guidance, but you don't have any example. Understood? So the
Yeah.
answer is option B, instructions let's think step by step is added. Okay, moving on to the next question. The principle of making a prompt deterministic aims to prevent what?
Option C.
Hmm?
Option C.
Option C. Because when we are saying that our prompt should be deterministic, what we are saying, we are not talking about rate limiting. We are not talking about API key expiration, or we are not talking about whether the output should be in JSON or image or whatever. What we are saying is that we are stopping random, unexpected, or irrelevant output, so that we get the result which is required, expected, and relevant. So the answer is C. Random, unexpected, or irrelevant output should be prevented. That's why we are making our prompt deterministic. Okay. What does fine tuning an LLM refers to in the context of customization? Okay, when we are saying that, okay, fine tune this LLM, what we are saying is we are asking it to train itself, right? So any input or output given to the LLM, it tries to train itself. So when we are saying fine tuning means LLM will actually train itself, and training it further on a task specific or domain specific data sets. That is known as fine tuning. So like I give you the example that I am training my model for pizza delivery only. So what I am doing is I am making it as a domain specific data set. Correct? Okay. So yes, the answer is correct. Which role would focus a prompt primarily on error logging, monitoring, and tracing? It is observability engineer. So just keep in mind, because I mean, when you are talking about error logging or monitoring and tracing, you should know that it should be observability engineer. Yeah, okay. The event driven pattern is ideal when GenAI output needs to trigger what? So what we discussed in COT and React is that they have some steps, or they have some, I mean, instructions which they should be executing. So when we are talking about event-driven pattern, what we are saying is that there will be subsequent downstream processes which should be triggered, and JN should be actually working on that. So the answer is subsequent downstream processes. Okay. What is the
Embedding.
term? Sorry?
Embedding.
No. See, token and embedding, they are not learned during the training process. They are related to input. Even the
Okay.
context window is also related to input. So what is the term for numerical
Parameters.
value within an element that are learned during the training process is parameters. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So that's it from my side. I mean, if you guys would like to ask anything or any question, or if you have worked upon the something which I asked you, some example, and if you want to share, or discuss, please.
Student, if you have any kind of query regarding your MVP or anything, you can ask. If not, so please drop no also so that we know that we should wrap up the call. Nandini.
Nandini.
Nandini, if I'm not wrong, you are attending this workshop for the first time. Is it?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, but she
Yeah,
was very
because I
active.
haven't seen you earlier in any workshop. May I know? So are you aware who is your mentor?
Yeah, ma'am.
Uh,
Shreya, ma'am.
Shreya. Acha, okay.
Yeah,
So have you booked your session, mentoring sessions with the our mentors, internal, external, everyone?
yeah.
I'll see. Okay, okay. Perfect. Anyone else? Any query regarding your MVP, prototype, anything? Okay, tell me how many of you have received my message today on WhatsApp message maybe. I can see Deepa here from my team.
Madam, I have a query.
Yeah, yeah, please, Jayakumar.
Actually, prototyping, we have to present that task for prototyping
You're not
probable date,
you're not clearly audible. You're asking for prototyping.
typing presented that day video of the task date for prototyping, like ideation stage.
Yeah, ideation stage. For what do you want?
The date of task submitting for
I
prototyping.
see. Okay, okay. Jayakumar, you're in this WhatsApp group, right? Where we are sending all the communication.
Madam, but not much about the date will be
So, oh,
usually announced later only. Anyway, probable date.
so on what stage your MVP is currently?
I only I haven't because of some I am a research scholar, so some lag is there. So
Okay, so
I
hopefully by
not
the mid,
sure. That is
yeah, hopefully by the mid of November you will get a clear date. But tentatively it is mid of November.
mid of November.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, madam. Okay, 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 okay. So that I am thinking how much time I may get for that
Mm-hmm.
task. That is
Mm-hmm.
okay, okay.
Anything,
Thank
anyone? Yeah, no problem. Perfect. I think we should wrap up the call for today. And as I always say in my every call, please student book your mentoring sessions with your mentors and